And how much day-to-day maintenance are you doing on that course? I know high school meets and things have been out there. I mean, I imagine grass mowing and things like that.
I came straight from the course. This is why I know I always look bad, Tommy, but this is why I look this way today.
And ultimately, it was just about playing faster, playing quicker, and just doing what we do. And they ended up doing it, and we came away with the win.
Rewatched it this morning because your memory gets a little foggy when games go that long. And it was a way better match than I thought it was. I'm going to have to apologize to my team because I didn't think we were super crisp at that game. But
we need to get all 11 guys on both sides of the ball, on the same page and in sync. I think that's one of the things, I talk about inconsistency, but we need to be more in sync as 11 guys playing together.
You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Tommy Rezach with you once again. We got a great show lined up for you over the next hour as tis the season, well into the fall sports season by now. Tomorrow it's October. We've got MIAA Basketball Media Day coming up in about a week and a half. So, yeah, it's only going to pick up from here. But lots to talk about. What a fun weekend here at home. So many home events with 2 soccer matches, 2 volleyball matches, and Missouri Western football on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in a First Responder and Military Appreciation Day taking on the Washburn Ichabods. We'll go over all of that. Plus, many Griffon teams are kind of back on the road this week. Soccer, volleyball, football all playing away from St. Joseph, but not all teams are on the road this week. Missouri Western Cross Country will have the Griffon Invite this Saturday morning, which we'll talk about, and Missouri Western Tennis will host Truman State on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock out at the Noyes Tennis Courts at Central High School here in St. Joseph. So a number of things to talk about here this week, including one of our fall sports being in action at home right now in the Midwest Regional Preview at the St. Joseph Country Club. Now, the meet officially being hosted by the University of Missouri St. Louis, but St. Joseph Country Club is the venue. And folks, good news, Missouri Western right now in second place as a team, just now 3 shots off the lead behind Tiffin University. So through about 13 holes, the Griffon men in round 1, second place, just 3 shots off the lead individually. Jeffrey Johnston tied for 6th right now. He's 1 under par, but Jeff only 2 shots off the lead. Parker Bunting tied for 13th at even par. And how about freshman Pat Johnston? Both Jeff and Pat playing on their home course. Pat Johnston, the freshman, even par through 9 holes, tying him for 13th right now. A number of our Griffon Sports Insider staff is out there at St. Joe Country Club helping to run and cover that event. So best of luck to the Griffons as they'll play 3 rounds today and tomorrow at the St. Joe Country Club. The second round will tee off this afternoon, third round to start on Tuesday morning. So let's dive into kind of the week and lots of history to unpack here between volleyball and soccer. You got Missouri Western volleyball on an unbelievable run right now. Winners of 7 straight matches and off to their best start in Division II history and the best start since 1987 at 11-2 wins over Emporia State and a ranked Washburn team. I got to tell you, so I did not do the volleyball match Saturday. Kyle Schmidt went over there, did a great job on the broadcast, but I'm listening to that thing. I watched back video highlights. What an atmosphere. Great attendance at Looney after the football game on Saturday night and a 5-set thriller against Washburn. Volleyball, tough slate coming up this week. They're at 3rd-ranked Nebraska Kearney, a Loper team that's 14-0. That match comes up Friday at 6. And that Fort Hays State Saturday at 2. Now, Hays traditionally not quite as good as Kearney, but Hays is off to a great start right now at 9-2 on the season. So 2 pretty good matches coming up for volleyball on the road this week. And speaking of history, that's what Griffon soccer did on Wednesday. Made history, opened up the history books with a 3-2 win against Northwest Missouri State. So now at 7-0-1, this is the best start in program history. Followed that up with a 4-2 win against Rogers State Friday night. Griffon soccer back on the road for what feels like about the first time in a month. They'll be at Newman Friday at 7. That's in Wichita, Kansas. And then at Central Oklahoma in Edmond Sunday at 1 o'clock. Missouri Western football, like we talked about, taking on Washburn in a pretty pretty well-fought battle, a Military First Responders Appreciation Day. First off, always a special day. We had so many local heroes. Missouri National Guard, Guardsmen were there. I know members of the 139th Airlift Wing were present. St. Joseph Police and Fire there. So cool to see so many local heroes honored on the day. And regardless of whatever the outcome was, it was a great day for a game and a pretty good crowd on hand. But as we know, the Ichabods did win it 24-16. So Missouri Western football getting ready for their 4th road game in 5 weeks, and it's out of the frying pan into the fire to some extent. We go into the highest, the biggest stadium, certainly in the MIAA, Kearney Smith Stadium, Pittsburgh State, the preseason favorite to win the MIAA. Pitt State at 3-1, ranked 10th in the country. Pitt State had the week off this past week, so that's the challenge there. The Griffons will kick off Saturday from Pittsburgh, Kansas at 2, and our pregame coverage will start at 1 o'clock on the Griffin Sports Network, the Varsity Network app, gogriffins.com/listen, places you can listen to that one. And cross country, like we talked about, they were idle this past week, but they're going to be home. A very exciting event coming up Saturday morning, the Griffin Invite. Multiple teams from across the league and the region going to come in here and compete, with the men's race starting at 10 and the women's race at 11 o'clock. So that's what we've got coming up here this week. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, Missouri Western Cross Country will lead us off as they always do. Cody Ingold and first-year assistant coach Sean Gosewisch will come up here. We'll talk about the off week as the Griffins get set, getting prepared for the Griffin Invite. And as of right now, this is the last meet that stands between the Griffins and the MIAA Championships on October 26th. So we'll talk about that when we come back. It's the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast. We're live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, live on the Varsity Network app and at gogriffins.com/listen. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, it's the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, kicking things off with men's and women's cross country. Not only joined by Cody Ingold, by now we know who he is, but joining us up on the stand as well, first-year Missouri Western assistant cross country coach Sean Gosewisch, or Goose, as he's affectionately known as around here. Sean, Cody, welcome to you both. How was the off weekend? How's things going?
It was busy. It wasn't off, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sean, how about you? How you doing?
Good.
I'm doing well. It's always good to have an easy Sunday.
Yeah. Well, welcome to you both. Looking back at last weekend, y'all were in Lincoln, Nebraska for that Greeno-Dirksen Invitational. Men finishing 7th out of 26 teams. The women finishing 18th out of 22. Cody, I'll start with you, and then Sean, I'll let you chime in. I know in talking to you last week that you felt like, for the most part, given the field that you were up against, you felt like things went okay, but I know you're looking for things to kick up a notch on the competitive side. So over this last week, I know you're staying in shape, conditioning, running, but what are you working on the most between now and this meet on Saturday?
Our big thing last week was try to drive some competition and just kind of motivate them to be more competitive. Like I said, this group hasn't won a conference title or done anything crazy, and so we need to start acting like we belong instead of just hoping that we do. So sending the right message, and then again, like I said, we had a couple bad performances that a year ago would have put us in the bottom 10, bottom 5, whatever. And, those bad performances didn't hurt us this time because we had the, next man up mentality. So it was nice. It was good. It was refreshing to see that part. It's just, I hate missing on opportunities, and, rankings just opened, so we took some losses against some teams we didn't want to take losses against. And it wasn't bad. I mean, losing to Kearney, they're a good team, but I'd like to beat them. So.
Yeah, Sean, what could you add to that?
Like Coach Ingold said, each race is a litmus test. See where we're at that point in the season, that point in the training cycle. So we learn from each one. We make the adjustments necessary, look ahead to the next meet, and shore up the weaknesses, continue pounding away at the strengths, and moving forward.
Yeah, before we get to the next meet, Sean, you were hired here July of 2024. Now, take me back. You were at William Penn for quite a while before getting here, but you all have known each other for quite a long time, right?
Sean was actually my first GA at William Penn.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so Sean, when the opportunity came to come back here and work with Cody, just kind of take me through that process, that decision.
Sure. The past 2 years previous to this, I was out in another Division II institution.
That's Tusculum,
out in East.
Tennessee.
Yep. Out of Tusculum. And then, when Cody said there may be an opportunity, there was no hesitation. I've worked with him before. We worked really well together, I think. So the opportunity to do so again in the future here, it was an easy decision for me to make. Yeah,
you and then Jordan Garr coming on to help coach throwers on the track side. But just in evaluating this roster, Sean, some newcomers, of course, but a lot of veteran runners. Just how fun has it been? How fun has it been to work with this group?
It's been a lot of fun, actually. This is the most weapons, for lack of a better term, that I've had available to me within a team. You know, there's a lot of strengths there, a lot of talent. So it's been fun. It's been exciting to work with this group.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what's coming up this weekend. So Saturday morning, the Griffon Invitational on the cross-country course on campus. You go all the way to 50th Street, hang a left, and that's how you get there. Big field of teams, Cody. You said, up to maybe 17 coming in? Or?
Yeah, it closed on Wednesday, so I think there was 11 or 12 still that were entered currently. So there's still some time. It just depends on where people are in their cycle. What's weird about cross-country is you can, like golf, you can just pick and choose where you want to go. So
yeah.
It should be at least 12 on the line, hoping to add a couple more. So.
Now, in the relative young history of this program, is this the biggest meet we'll have hosted to date?
By far. I think the most college teams ever had is like 4.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice, and it helps that we're hosting conference in 3 weeks. So, it'll be good. I mean, really competitive field, so it's not going to be just a cakewalk. We're going to have to really compete well.
Yeah.
So.
And how much day-to-day maintenance are you doing on that course? I know high school meets and things have been out there. I mean, I imagine grass mowing and things like that.
I came straight from the course. This is why I know I always look bad, but this is why I look this way today. Yeah. We got it. You know, once it's done and mowed, we're good. Mm-hmm. It's just, you know, we had to shore up some spots that, I got the mower stuck at one point, so we had to get that filled and trying to grow some grass. But, like, we had to make a quick, I don't know what the right word was, but we had to quickly make a new path today because our course was running short for some reason and I couldn't figure out why, and finally figured out why. So we mowed a new path, and that had to do that this morning, and by this morning I mean like an hour ago. And then now we got to spend the next 5 days filling in holes to make sure that its footing's good. And I mean, the one thing I want this weekend is most important about it. If it runs fast, people will come back. Like it doesn't. The thing I hate about cross country is that time matters, but for this weekend, time matters. Yeah. So we need to make sure it runs fast so we can have big fields in the future and continue to get this meet, grow this meet. So
yeah, and then 3 weeks from Saturday, the MIAA championships will be held at the Missouri Western cross country course. So certainly an exciting moment for the program, for the university, and dare I say for the league. So in those 3 weeks, I know it's somewhat dependent on how Saturday goes, but are you guys interested in maybe adding like a twilight or something to the schedule? Or?
We'll see. We may take a women to. We won't have any 6Ks on the schedule in conference and regional 6K, so we may have to do something. Yeah. Quickly and see if, depending on how they run this weekend, though. We'll see. Our course is, like I said, can run fast, but it's challenging enough to where it takes a couple days to recover from. So we'll reassess on Monday, and we got to get to Saturday first, I guess, before we can reassess on Monday. Yeah.
Sean, I know he likes to goof around and stuff like that, but to be able to work with Cody in this capacity, I mean, it's got to be fun. Never a dull moment, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's always time for fun and laughs, but when it's time to rock and roll and get ready, we're on it.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to watching the Griffons compete in a stacked field here of roughly 12 teams for now. Teams have until Wednesday to register for this meet, but either way, the biggest regular season cross-country meet to date for the Griffons, as it'll be 10 o'clock Saturday for the men, 11 o'clock for the women. I haven't looked at the forecast yet, but calling for sunshine and 81 degrees, so it should be a beautiful, clear, dry day. A little warm, high 85 today. Summer still hanging on here in St. Joseph. But coaches, Sean Gosewisch, Cody Ingold, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right, thank you. How about it? Sean and Cody kicking us off here on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. Let's take a break. We'll keep diving into our fall sports recaps here and talk some soccer. And Sean's not the only assistant coach that's going to join us today. Colin Baker and Madalyn Graham are going to pinch hit for Jake Plucker to talk women's soccer, and also Corrine Stewart from St. Joseph, junior forward, scoring a pair of goals this past week. She's going to join us to talk about the Griffons' historic start, 7-0-1 overall, 2-0 in the league, and the Griffons getting ready to go on the road to resume conference action. We'll discuss that next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. It's the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach, joined by a whole panel here today for Griffon Soccer. Madalyn Graham, Corrine Stewart, and Colin Baker. Soccer! There we go. Thank you, Cody, to lead us off. Colin, Corrine, and Madalyn, welcome to you all. Thanks for being here. Missouri Western Soccer, 7-0-1 now, 2-0 in the MIAA, starting up conference play on Wednesday against Northwest Missouri State on a pretty nice night at Spratt Stadium. Well attended, a great atmosphere, lots of vuvuzelas being blown in the stadium, and a 3-2 win at the end of the day after the Griffons get off to a 3-0 start 2-0 at halftime, and then 3-0 thanks to Corrine Stewart's long solo goal. Northwest a couple of goals in the last 12 minutes, but the Griffins do survive for the best start in program history and the first win over Northwest in 5 years. Colin, just starting with you on that one, then we'll kind of go around the room here, but got tense there, right? A little bit late. Northwest punches in a couple within 5 minutes, but Keeley makes a couple of saves there to keep the lead intact, and hey, it's a win, and you're still undefeated. Just thoughts back on Wednesday night's match.
It was quite the roller coaster for about 80 minutes. Obviously, we did everything that we needed to do correctly and understood what they were going to bring to the table to us and everything. But those last 10 minutes were some lapses that I think we needed. We've talked about this fairy tale start and everything that we have. Me and Jake, we're sitting there on the sideline at some point saying we're going to have some adversity. It's going to hit us, and it did. We got the 3 points, and that's the most important thing. But there are things that we need to clean up moving forward, and I'm actually glad that happened to us.
Yeah, Madalyn, I know you're a little nervous coming up here as well, and I apologize, but we love to hear from you. Your first year on campus here, with working with Coach Plucker, I mean, just to get off to the start, you having to, see some palpable buzz around this program. I mean, hard to ask for a better start, but it's just how much fun have you had working with this group right now?
Oh, it's been so fun. The girls we have, the coaching staff we have, it's just been a blast.
Yeah.
You can't ask for a better start, honestly.
Yeah. Madalyn Graham, by the way, coming to Missouri Western, if you forgot, from Minot State University, was the assistant there for the last 4 years. So definitely familiar with the Central Region and definitely familiar with Division II. Let's jump ahead to Friday. Rogers State in town, and it was a 4-2 win for the Griffins there, but took a while to get there. Rogers up 1-0 early. I believe that came on a corner kick in the 27th minute, or at least that's how it started. But 4 goals in the second half, 22 shots by the Griffins compared to just 6 by Rogers State, and 15 corner opportunities for Western on Friday night. Lauren Nyland, Elizabeth Pujado, Corrine Stewart, all with goals. And the first goal was actually an own goal by Rogers State. That was the equalizer. And then 2 more goals coming in the final 5 minutes for the Griffins to pull away. One, a penalty kick by Lauren Nyland. She's gotten good at that. And then Corrine, yours came on just a kind of a slow roller in the empty net with about a minute and a half to go. Sophie Wellinghoff getting the start in box with 3 saves. Coach Baker, that was one, so again, I was calling volleyball, so I didn't get to see it, but I did watch a portion of the end of the first half, and then, Rogers kind of gets that one opportunity, but for the most part, they were not on the offensive third. You guys were able to kind of control the pace, but nonetheless, you're playing from behind. Little adversity hits early, but you found your stride pretty quickly after halftime. That'd be fairly satisfying to watch down the stretch.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to little things like that, I think that's what makes our sport so great is you could dominate a game and go down 1-0. But the halftime talk was more about, again, we're not going to panic down 1-0. We have the tools. We have the players that are going to turn things around for us. And ultimately, it was just about playing faster, playing quicker, and just doing what we do. And they ended up doing it, and we came away with the win.
Yeah. Corrine, if I can ask you about that goal, it was kind of an odd situation just watching that thing roll, and you're up a point at that point, 3-2, so not quite over at that point, but to help, put the cherry on top of a pretty fun second half and back-to-back matches for you now with the goal. Just what were your feelings at the end of Friday night?
Yeah, I think after the game Wednesday, them almost coming back, I think getting that goal and getting up another goal, it gave us a lot more, made it a little less stressful to get that kind of stability towards the end of that game. So.
Yeah. And Corrine, you're obviously from St. Joe, a graduate of Savannah High School. You hold a ton of records in that soccer program. Started at Illinois Springfield, and you come here, to work under Coach Plucker now. To be able to play soccer again in your hometown, and to now 2 years under Coach Plucker. Now some goals in the black and gold. Just what can you say about just your experience coming back and playing for this program?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a little kid, I never would have thought playing for the St. Joe youth soccer that I'd be here now playing for Missouri Western. So it's just really cool. And I feel like our offense is finally starting to click and come together. So it's really exciting for me. Finally able to get some goals going on. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Laura Nyland kind of, has had a lot of the early goals in this season, and now Cam Peasley getting involved. Kendall Nisley, who scored 6 goals last year, starting to find the back of the net more as well. And Madalyn and Colin, just open it up to you guys. That's something Coach Plucker talked about a lot. Last year, a lot of close, losses or being shut out, trying to find the back of the net more. And seemingly that's happening, right? 3 goals against Northwest, 4 against Rogers State. I guess offensively, how have you liked the rhythm? A ton of shots being fired. Like, y'all are averaging north of 20 per game at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we wanted to work on moving into this year compared to last year. Not scoring as many goals when you knock on the door doesn't feel very good, and you keep, ultimately thinking that there's something going wrong. But at the end of the day, if you just keep knocking, it's going to go in, and it's been great to see this year. Last year, we would hit the post and never put the ball in the back of the net. So right now, with Corrine, firing on all cylinders, and everybody else too. Obviously, Nyland stepping it up from PKs and stuff. It's been great to see, and that's all it takes.
And now, Madalyn, forgive me. Do you work more with the offense or the defense right now?
Kind of everyone.
Kind of everywhere. Okay. Well, let's stick with offense for a second. They're just building off of what Colin said. What strides have you seen there? A lot of good touches. It's just kind of a matter of, it seems like more and more actually finishing with goals at this point.
Yeah, I think the grit and resiliency of this team this year is huge, and that's made all the difference. They're willing to work for each other, and that's creating the opportunities we have. And then the girls are they're doing the work, they're doing their job, they're putting in those chances, and it's been fun to see. I mean, 4 goals in one half, you really don't see in soccer, so they're doing a great job.
Absolutely, yeah. 4 goals after getting down 1-0 early to Rogers State. Just kind of an idea that, even Rogers, a team that was like 1-5 coming in, every night you're going to get a good challenge from this league. And no doubt Missouri Western, after a 6-game homestand, running the table there, winners of 6 straight now, and back on the road for the first time since September 8th. That's the last day that Missouri Western's played a road match at Newman Friday at 7, Central Oklahoma on Sunday at 1. And Colin, I know it's early in the week. You got a lot of time to kind of look at what they've done. UCO, I think 4-3-1 at this point in time, so off to a decent start. How do you attack this week and just prepare mentally to go back and play away from Spratt Stadium?
Yeah, it's going to be an adjustment to go back on the road, but again, nothing should change in our preparation for anyone that we play against. Newman's going to be very well organized, and they're going to try to catch us on the counter like they did last year, make it a little difficult on us. UCO is one of the more physical and direct teams we'll play against this year too, so it'll be quite the test. It'll kind of be like a Northern State that we played at the beginning of the year, so we've already been through something like that. But ultimately, it's just, again, every single day, we have a plan that we go off of and just try to go 1-0 leading up into every day. Yeah,
and I'll end, Madalyn, Corrine, 6 games at home, kind of a rarity at this level, it feels like. And you run the table, non-conference games, beat Northwest for the first time in 5 years, to make that history at home and have kind of the celebration we did on Wednesday night, to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. That's awesome. So that being said, how much confidence do you feel like y'all have as you get ready to go back on the road first time in a month?
Yeah, I think the girls, obviously it's been great being at home for so many games, but we as a staff and as the girls themselves try to prepare the best for going on the road, so it's not really much of a difference. I think we tell the girls, in the MIAA, any game is going to be a battle, whether you're at home, whether you're on the road, so they're just going to take the confidence, I think, from this last week and take it into the road.
Yeah. And Corrine, do you guys kind of embrace the opportunity to go play at someone else's house, get a chance to make a statement, get wins? I know it's fun to play at home, but do y'all enjoy, being on the bus, getting that bonding time, and just getting to see other venues in the league?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's really exciting. I think it's going to be fun going in, and I think we need to, like you said, have confidence, but I think also just staying humble and putting in the work this week to be ready for this weekend.
Well, the Griffons no doubt will be a favorite going in on Friday against Newman, a team still seeking their first win. But UCO, I always say this, anytime you play at Central Oklahoma, you're going to get good facilities, good coaching, good athletes, a good atmosphere down there in Edmond. Always impressive, the things that they do. But so what else is impressive is what Missouri Western has done. Near the top right now, tied for first in the MIAA at 7-0-1 overall, 2-0 in the league after wins this week over Northwest and Rogers State. Newman Friday at 7, UCO Sunday at 1. Again, live streaming, live stats, recaps will be available to you on GoGriffins.com. Corrine Stewart, Colin Baker, Madalyn Graham, thank you to all of you. Congratulations. It's been a blast to watch, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. There you go, Missouri Western Soccer. As we roll on the Griffon Sports Insider podcast, probably worth looking at the MIAA soccer standings before we do take a break. Missouri Western, Fort Hays State, Central Missouri, all tied for first right now at 2-0 in the league. But now Missouri Western is the lone unbeaten team. Well, actually, them and Kearney. Kearney's 4-0-4. Missouri Western 7-0-1. So just 2 unbeatens left in the MIAA in women's soccer. And Missouri Western on top of the perch with a league-best 6-game win streak as well. We'll take a break and we'll talk Missouri Western volleyball. Jessica Fye is here, along with outside hitter Holly Heldt, one of just a few Griffins who had a great weekend in wins over Emporia State and Washburn. And the Griffins, the volleyball team, just like soccer, get ready to go on the road for a pair of tough MIAA matches. So we discuss it next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, it's the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach. Connor Peters on the camera, Rick Leahy, the audio engineer, and Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, our host. Thank you, as always, to our great host, Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Joined now by Missouri Western volleyball head coach Jessica Fye and sophomore outside hitter from Herman, Missouri, an all-conference outside hitter at that, Holly Heldt. Holly Heldt, part of a great weekend as Missouri Western, you may have heard, off to their best start in the Division II era, the best start since 1987, 11-2 overall, and now 2-0 in the MIAA, starting it off on Friday with a straight set sweep against Emporia State. Coach Fye, we'll dive into that Emporia match here in a second, but yeah, I mean, you're in rarefied air. We kind of talked about that on Friday night. Great chance to do something special, and what a special run it's been. You go through the non-con, play a lot of tough opponents, and play 2 really good teams on this weekend. You know, Emporia comes in 8-1. Washburn nationally ranked. I mean, just what kind of high is this team floating on after just such a terrific match both Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think they feel great about themselves, and they should. I think we ended our season last year very well, and so they already had a lot of momentum coming in and wanted to accomplish just a lot more. So, you know, we set them up for a pretty tough preseason to try to get them ready for conference play, and so I think they felt ready, even if we lost a couple ones that, you know, were close, but I think they were just well prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was apparent early on in the weekend on Friday evening, taking on Emporia State. An Emporia team, again, off to a great start. That's an Emporia program that won 4 total matches 2 years ago. They make the change at coach. 13 wins last year and already 8 this season coming into Friday. And the Griffins controlled it early, winning the first 2 sets, 25-13, 25-10. Then Emporia's offense just kind of got going a little bit more. Had an early lead, led by as many as 6. Griffins spend a couple of timeouts, and you look up, and it's tied 23-all. Griffins score the last 2 to win it in straight sets. The 7th sweep of the year, by the way. And defense was kind of the highlight of the night. 10 total blocks, 57 digs, but the Griffins also hit at a 3-13 clip. And Holly, going to you, you kind of led the way on defense, you and Anna, with 13 digs each. And what was most impressive, as Coach and I talked about in postgame, is that Rayashawn Jackman, their outside hitter, she's from Taiwan. She was the MIAA kill leader. She averages 4.6 kills a set. Y'all hold her to 5 total on 19 attacks. They had some big blows on that front row, but your team came ready time and again. Just thoughts on the effort on Friday night?
Yeah, I think that going into that game, we knew that outside was going to be their kill leader and what they were going to go to the most. So I think that just stopping her was our main priority in that game, and I think we did a pretty good job of that in the front row blocking-wise and in the back row digging her. So yeah, we just did a good job stopping her. Reflected by
Emporia's 0.39 hit percentage on the evening. Emporia had some errors early that kind of held them up too, but a really well played third set by both teams, and the Griffins able to get it done in a pretty quick order on Friday night. Saturday, you know, a bit of a different flavor, one that goes to 5 sets, very back and forth. 24th ranked Washburn. They came in and they, Coach, I forget, did they lose or win to Northwest? That went to 5 sets on Friday.
They lost.
That's
yeah,
right. Okay, so the Ichabod's coming in for off of another 5-set match, and man, this one was fun to follow. So I was calling volleyball, listening on the drive home. 23-25, Washburn takes set 1. Griffins take a wild set 2, 29-27. 25-21 in set 3. Set 4, bit of a slow start. Washburn wins it 25-17, and then I'm following live stats on the 5th set, and it's just every team is countering each other. Hard to get on a run until the end. The Griffins score the last 2 to win it, 18-16, behind 12 blocks, 93 digs, season high 21 kills for Taylor Russell, but Holly Heldt a double-double with 17 kills, 22 digs. Lily Kerr is accounting for 5 blocks, and how about it, 60 assists for Nessa Johnson, a new career high there. what can you say, Coach? A classic gritty match. You fight back from a tough fourth set, and you outlast them in what was a very even fifth set. I mean, if you just let those two play in the fifth, who knows where that would have gone. But great atmosphere as well, and anytime you beat Washburn in this sport, it's definitely meaningful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I rewatched it this morning because your memory gets a little foggy when games go that long. And it was a way better match than I thought it was. I'm going to have to apologize to my team because I didn't think we were super crisp at that game. But it was just well battled on both sides. I think I said in my post-game interview, I thought like when they were rocky, we were rocky. And then when they were great, we were great. So you're just kind of like matching each other's energy almost a little bit. But I think our defense and our blocking absolutely got us through that fifth set. If we don't play defense like we did in that fifth set, we had some crazy plays. We blocked the ball really well. Holly Heldt came alive in that fifth set and just from behind the service line and offensively. I think you had 2 stuff blocks too in the fifth set. So she was a game changer in that fifth set and got us a lot of momentum.
Yeah, that's last year's MIAA Freshman of the Year, all MIAA tournament team, first team all conference. Holly Heldt, a native of Herman, Missouri, along with Coach Jessica Fye, joining us on the Griffon Sports Insider podcast. And I think, Holly, going into Friday night, it's like you look at the calendar, it's this 27th day of September. We're just now getting to play at home. To have finally gotten that chance to play at home and 2 pretty good crowds, I thought, on Friday and Saturday night. I mean, how much extra energy did that give you guys?
Yeah, it meant a lot to have that many fans there. It was very exciting to play in, especially on the Saturday game. But having that many fans there just made the game of volleyball so much more fun and exciting to be around.
Certainly. And sticking with you for a second, Holly, I think offensively we knew with you and Taylor coming back that's a great start through the middle and outside. But to see Emily Lloyd kind of get going, Noelle Sutcliffe get going, seems like Emma Salker's finding a bit more kills here early on to get a little extra help in the middle and on the back ends and things. How much more dynamic do you think this offense is becoming right now?
Definitely a lot more dynamic than last year. I think it's going to really help us win games if we're dynamic from every spot on the court. So just keeping it clean and playing good volleyball is going to help us win a lot of games this season.
Absolutely. The Griffins have done a lot of winning so far, 11-2 overall, 2-0 in the league, winners of 7 straight games. Well, let's dive ahead to what's going on this weekend. Every weekend in this league is big, and particularly when you play a number 3 team in the country who's undefeated in their house, Nebraska Kearney, 14-0 so far. That'll be a Friday night match at 6, and then at Fort Hays State Saturday at 2. Like Emporia, Fort Hays State having a much better start to the season after some tough years. Hays right now at 9-2. Coach, Kearney, they are who we thought they were, right? Yeah. Still a national contender. I want to start this off. There's 2 stats, 1 good, 1 bad. So for Kearney, we've only won 3 total sets against them in the last 12 meetings. It's been since 2017 since we beat them. Meanwhile, we've beaten Fort Hays State 16 of the last 17. So, but as always, it's always kind of, you hit the reset button every time that first serve goes in the air. To have the opportunity to take this win streak into the Health and Fitness Center Friday night, and you and I know Kearney will pack them in for volleyball on Friday night. Just thoughts on that big opportunity coming up for your team?
I mean, they're prepared. They're ready. They want to do great things this year, and we played great teams, and so it's just another one that we're going to have to battle against. So I know they're going to those big games aren't the ones that I really worry about, right? They're going to compete hard. They're going to get after it. They really want to win. So it's really just going to come down to who can be the most efficient. I think Kearney is probably the most efficient team in the league, probably next to UCO. So we're going to have to be a lot more efficient Friday night than we were on Saturday.
Yeah. And Holly, for you guys who have played your first 11 matches, 3 different states, playing ranked opponents, I know maybe not as big a crowd as you'll see on Friday night, but how much does that put you at ease just knowing hey, we've been there, done that in August, September? Does that help you guys going into this weekend?
Yeah, of course it helps us. We've been through a lot of big games this season already, so I think that going into Kearney, we just know we play clean and efficient, and the crowd's obviously going to be loud and stuff, but you just got to imagine they're cheering for you, so it'll be okay.
Well, Coach Plucker talked about, with his team that, pressure is a privilege. So, to be in a situation where it's the target's on your back now, maybe the last few years it hasn't been that way. Yeah. How much does that change the mentality, if at all, going into matches like this?
I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the year. We were kind of that, black sheep last year that people didn't really know, we were going to be good, and we ended up being pretty good in the league. And so, this year people are going to actually probably pay a little bit more attention to us. So we're gonna have to definitely show out a little bit more each game. You know, we faced it like my first year. Anytime you get to go play one of those big opponents, you really give them your all because you don't have anything to lose, and so we're kind of on that receiving end of it.
Well, there's only 3 teams that have an undefeated conference record through the first weekend. Central Oklahoma, who's 15-0, Kearney, who's 14-0, and Missouri Western at 2-0 in the league, 11-2 overall, 7 straight wins, and the only ones who have longer win streaks are nationally ranked UCO and Nebraska Kearney, a couple of top 15 teams right at the top with Missouri Western. We'll see what the polls show out this week, but regardless, going to be a lot of fun to watch this Griffon team away from home as they'll be in Kearney, Nebraska Friday night at 6, Hayes, Kansas, Hayes, America to play the Tigers Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Holly Heldt, Jessica Fye, thank you. Congratulations. Got to watch on Friday. Had a blast. Look forward to watching more, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right, thank you, guys. There you go. Holly Heldt and Jess Fye joining us here on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. Volleyball and soccer, what a fun start it's been for both of these programs. Did not lose. Neither team lost a home match in the month of September. Let's take a break. We'll talk Missouri Western football. Head coach Tyler Fenwick will come up as his team took on Washburn this past Saturday. And talking to going on the road, Missouri Western football's done a lot of that, getting ready already for their 4th road game of the season and the 6th game of the year, taking on Pittsburgh State in the Jungle in Pittsburgh, Kansas this weekend. We talk about it next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, it's the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach. Time to talk Griffon football in our second half hour. Tyler Fenwick joining us here. Missouri Western had a great day, weather-wise, certainly a beautiful day, a great atmosphere, first responders, military appreciation day. And, of course, as we know in this MIAA, every game important as the Washburn Ichabods coming in, seeking their first victory, and kind of a gritty game, especially early. Both defenses getting some stops, Washburn getting some points on the board early second half. The Griffons rally, make it a 1-score game, comes down to an onside with about a minute and a half to go, but ultimately the Ichabods win it 24-16. Coach, I know tough going in that, we're without Kane Donovan, we're without Brandon Hall, so down a few key guys, but some newer guys stepping in there, Cody Kirk playing a lot of quarterback for the second straight week, Jaden Williams, Morrell Fountain, Ricky Dunn kind of helping to fill that role in the running back room. And like last week, some great momentum going into halftime, a flurry of points as we go into the locker room. But then Washburn comes out with some great rhythm on offense, and then just not enough counters on our part. And I know in talking with Chris Roush in postgame that hard to be satisfied with really anything from Saturday, some inconsistencies. But 2 days removed from it, some good, some bad. We know. What are your final kind of closing thoughts on that game?
Yeah, well, it's disappointing. We're inconsistent, and that's what we are right now, and we're seeing a lot of inexperienced mistakes still, which that's where I'm a little bit frustrated because I was hoping that we could battle through that, but when you have kind of a revolving door at quarterback, it's hard to get that consistency. So I did think that going back and watching the film, Cody's numbers weren't great, but I think that's not necessarily always on him. I think that's a collective effort of inconsistency, again. And so, I think I think he's going to grow quite a bit from that experience. That was his first start, of really being able to get all the reps in practice and, the full game plan and all that stuff. I thought that, so I think there's some things that we can work with there. I think there's some things that we're going to see improvement on. And that will be a fun process, that's frustrated, yes, right now, and sometimes you kind of feel disgusted and just the performances and things like that. But the process that we have to go through to get these guys where we want them that's the fun part of coaching. That's the part where when you start to see. Here's what I told our team on Sunday in our team meeting. I said, we are not a good football team right now. I said, and I told them we have good individual players and we have talent in the room right now where we can win games and we can compete with anybody. And we show glimpses of being a good football team, but we're not a good football team yet because of just the mistakes that we're making and the inconsistencies and that's where we're at. And, we've had 4 out of 5 games. We've had the lead at halftime, and we've gone out and laid an egg in the third quarter. And we talked about that. And we talked about trying to, basically identify what our problems are. But now we have to kind of look back and say, what are the solutions to these problems? And, how do we maybe, practice things that we can come out and understand that, we can't be comfortable at halftime and feel good about ourselves at halftime. The one game that we were behind at halftime was game 1. We're down by 17, and we come out and we're on fire because we feel the pressure of like, oh, we better step it up. We better do something about it. And so we know we can answer the bell, but I just feel like we get comfortable at halftime thinking that we got it all figured out now, and we don't. And you can't feel like that in this league, in any league. Everybody's good. Everybody's going to come out and compete. Everybody, you got to play 60 minutes, and until we take some ownership in the fact that I've got to do my job to make sure that the guy next to me, I'm playing for the guy next to me, and that guy's got to play for me. And until we do that, we're going to continue to kind of down the same road. So we talked a lot about that stuff and just try to get it out in open table. We had a very stern video session yesterday of just some of the mistakes that we've made. They're things that are all fixable, and they're all focus driven. They're all communication driven. I mean, so it's there for us to go take it and turn this thing around. But we can't talk about it. We have to go do it, and that's the problem. We can talk about these things, but we have to actually take action and go do it.
So to kind of summarize, you're kind of identifying it as maybe getting a little too comfortable when you get this big momentum at halftime, just a lack of energy coming out of the locker room. Maybe.
All I know is that we've had the lead in 4 of the games, and we need to extend leads and not let them get back in it. Yep. And we talk about extending lead, but whatever it is, we drop the kickoff, we let them go down and run, go down and score, and then they retake the lead, and then it just becomes a momentum swings that we just haven't been able to handle.
Yeah. Missouri Western head football coach Tyler Fenwick is our guest on this part of the GSI podcast. Defensively, things happening there late that gave the Griffins at least a chance to go down and score. A recovered fumble on 4th down, Trayvon Holmes getting at that there. Brandon Johnson blocking a field goal there late. So the defense, you said it at halftime, defense making plays early as well to keep your guys in it. But Washburn, a 10-play, 99-yard drive that put them ahead 24-10 early in the 4th quarter. At that point in the game, is fatigue setting in? Is Washburn kind of wearing y'all down a little bit? They're having a little bit better success running the ball. I mean, take me through that drive. It seemed like it went on forever, like 5.5 minutes. What did you notice different about what Washburn was doing offensively in the second half?
Nothing. They weren't really doing anything different. I mean, I actually asked the same question in our staff meeting. I said, to our defensive coaches, did they do something different, or did they change anything? It's like, no, it's just, they were able to take advantage of some things. They got us on I think this was the drive, but they got us on a hitch and go down the sideline. They got us, so they just kind of methodically, they had some big plays. They, got some good runs. They got first downs. I think we might have had a penalty in there some point. And it just there are some things that we missed. There were some assignment busts that we missed that are things that are routine things that we need to make sure that we handle. I mean, honestly, from a positive standpoint, we punted and pinned it down there on the 1-yard line, which is something that we work continuously over and over and over again, and we celebrate the fact that we can get down there, and we call it down at punt. Where our punter makes a great punt and he gets it down there and we cover it and we get our heels on the goal line and we get it right there on the 1 yard. So, those are positives that are showing that we are practicing the right things and we're doing the right things. But, again, it becomes the inconsistency of like, it seems like we're making big mistakes at inopportune times. And that's what's kind of been killing us.
Yeah, or maybe lack of a clutch play at needed moments, stuff like that. Because there were flashes in that game.
Oh, there's flashes, and there's a lot of things that when you go back and you watch the film and you go, man, if we just would have done this, which might be a minor detail thing that we work on and that we coach on at practice, and we just do this, then it's a completely different play.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we have a first down or we get a sack. So there's stuff like that goes on throughout the game that we've got to make sure that every single play, you got 11 guys and every one of them has a job to do, and they need to make sure that they do their job. And that's, we might have 10 guys doing their job, and the one guy that's not doing their job is where it's going to hit.
Yeah.
sometimes that one guy doesn't do his job and you get away with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it seems you feel like they're always finding that one guy.
Yeah.
So we need to get all 11 guys on both sides of the ball, on the same page and in sync. I think that's one of the things, I talk about inconsistency, but we need to be more in sync as 11 guys playing together.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up here with football in a minute, and then we'll get our coaches panel to end the show. But a few positives that we did talk about. It was nice to see Morrell Fountain getting his first career touchdown, a 39-yarder. That put the Griffins ahead right before halftime. Cody Watson, a terrific day. 10 points for him, 3 for 3 on field goals, including a 51-yarder, career long, to put us on the board in the second quarter. And Jonas Bennett battled throughout. Got hurt, went back in there late in the game, 11 catches for 147 yards, both of those career highs for the sixth-year man out of Odessa, Missouri, in just his second year playing receiver. But let's talk about this week's opponent. We're going into the jungle at Carney Smith Stadium, Pittsburgh, Kansas. 10th-ranked Pitt State. They were off this past week, coming in 3-1 overall. They did beat Washburn the week prior. They've got wins also over Ferris State, Missouri Southern. First-year head coach in Tom Anthony. He was their defensive coordinator the previous 3-4 years. Brian Wright takes the Division I job at Northern Arizona, so he slides in. And Pitt is kind of the same old Pitt. They've lost some people, but they got their starting quarterback, their starting running back. They're still really good at defense. They're number 1 in the league in stopping the run. They're the least penalized team in the league. And Chad Dodson Jr., their quarterback, 26-4. As a starter. But, Coach, they've shown some vulnerabilities, right? Like Missouri Southern hung around with them early. Heck, Washburn had a great chance to knock them off last week in Topeka. But that said, a lot of great athletes. Anytime you play Pitt in football, you're up against something pretty good. And we've probably watched a lot of Pitt film. We've had a lot of common opponents. What stands out about them this year?
It's the same thing every year. They're physical. They're fast. I think they do a really good job on defense of just flying around and playing fast and playing physical. And then offensively they got a couple. They got a couple of receivers that can really go, and you got to be careful about that. And quarterback's obviously a veteran guy that knows the offense and knows what he's doing. So it's going to be a challenge. You got to go down there and play in their stadium, which is a great atmosphere. I've always enjoyed playing down there. It's electric. It's fun, and if you can play well, then you kind of quiet the place down. But you've got to play well, and so we've been saying it all along. Anybody in this league, and I think we've shown it throughout the games that have been played so far, that anybody can beat anybody, and anybody can take it down to the wire with anybody. And so we've got to continue to just keep growing and keep learning and learn how to play team football. And if we can do that, then we'll have a chance. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think every game's a good game. And I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about just the league. This is just the epitome of the league this year. Emporia goes into Pitt, wins that game. And we take Emporia to overtime, and then Emporia goes to Northwest, a team that started 0-2. Emporia loses to Northwest this past week, 14-9. So you look at the semi-AA first 4 or 5 games. It's topsy-turvy land, and Central Oklahoma is the only unbeaten left. They go and thrash Fort Hays State the other night. Who saw that coming? That's a Hays team that beat us, and Hays beat Northwest. So it's hard to get a read on that. So it could be an advantage for a team like us, as we got 2 tough road tests right in a row. Central Missouri waiting for us after. But Pittsburgh State first, Saturday at 2, the pregame at 1 from Carney Smith Stadium at Pittsburgh, Kansas. Coach Fenwick, thanks for the time. We'll see you here for the panel, and good luck to your team this weekend.
Yep, thank you.
All right, there you go. Tyler Fenwick joining us as we talk football. We'll take a quick break, wrap things up with the coaches panel. Right after this, it's the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We're back for our coaches roundtable. Tyler Fenwick, Jessica Fye, Cody Ingold. Okay. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, we'll try to survive these last few minutes of the show. Colin Baker making his coaches roundtable, the roundtable of irrelevancy debut. You good? Are you good?
Yeah, we're better.
Okay.
We're better.
All right, we're better. That's all right. Well, guys, we like to have fun up here, but maybe a slightly more serious note to begin this roundtable. The Oakland A's played their last game this past week at Oakland Coliseum. Obviously, that invoked a lot of emotion, a lot of nostalgia. Now, I don't know if any of us have been through a thing where our hometown team gets sold to Las Vegas, but I guess, in watching all this stuff about the Oakland Coliseum, is there a sports venue or stadium to you, coaches, that you get almost nostalgic or emotional about, or perhaps is there a closed stadium that you're like, man, I wish that was still around? Anything come to mind there?
I think from a oh God, why am I so loud?
Oh, I'm sorry.
From a fan standpoint, like the Nebraska Coliseum for volleyball.
Oh yeah.
Like, did you ever get to watch a game in there?
I didn't. No, the first match I went to was 2017, and they moved out of there by
it was
now.
a really cool environment. Like, I think they needed to go grow, obviously, but yeah, the Coliseum was such a cool, intimate environment for them.
Yeah, always packed, always loud. Well, let me partner it with, if you can't think of that, maybe what's the coolest venue you've ever got to go to? Like, for me, Ohio Stadium 2016, I got to go there at night, the Horseshoe. That was really, really cool. Whether you're a coach, fan, athlete, what was maybe the coolest venue you got to see live?
I don't know. We're doing a baseball tour. So
yeah. Who's like your family?
Me and a couple buddies, like college buddies. So like every stadium we go into, there's always something good. I'm probably going to catch a lot of heat for this, but I really didn't like Wrigley. Wrigley was like my least favorite stadium I've ever been in. So I'm sure Menley's just like, shut up, but it's fine.
He's a Cardinal fan, I think.
I know, but he called me the Debbie Downer. So
I enjoyed Wrigley. We went to a Wrigley game.
See, I think my problem was
I like the historic.
I thought it was cool, but it's just like there's seats there that just don't work. And
like
a
little
getting
places,
convenience. That was just inconvenience too much, I guess.
About 8 years ago, I went and recruited over in England, and I took 2.5 weeks to just go to certain stadiums and stuff. Wembley Stadium in London is unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Wembley is unreal. Went to Scotland as well. The Ibrox Stadium where Rangers play, which is like a mecca of football from we call don't hold that against me, please. But it's a stadium that's been around for like 200 years. So when you go inside of it and you see and you can just feel the history and stuff, those were probably the two coolest stadiums I've been in.
Tyler, I guess I'm curious. You spent, the first part of your career in Division II, seen a variety of stadiums, but maybe like whether it was like Major D1, NFL. What was maybe the coolest, biggest football stadium you've been in?
We took a trip one year. I think it was in the summer, but we went and toured Notre Dame Stadium.
Oh,
and I mean, that's just historic, and got down on the field and went through their facility and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So that was actually pretty cool. I don't know. There's been a bunch. I mean, I grew up in L.A., so the L.A. Coliseum. Been to games there. Not only but the '84 Olympics. I was watched Olympics there. And,
we get another run at it here in a couple years.
Yeah, right.
What do you make of what Oakland's going through? I mean, the Raiders are gone. The Warriors moved to San Francisco, and now they lose the A's. I mean, as a West Coast guy, I mean, probably pretty easy for you to empathize what they're going through, huh? With all those teams being sold.
What's funny is I saw something on ESPN the other night that the A's were leaving. It was like their last game, and I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, what's going on?" I had no idea.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't know. So so to answer your question, I guess I don't care.
Okay. I appreciate the honesty. Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Southern California. I wasn't really an A's fan. I mean, I wasn't really. I'm a Dodger fan. So I guess if the Dodgers left, then that would be something. Back in the day when the Raiders were in L.A., they left and went to Oakland. So that was kind of like.
That's right.
It was like a kind of a big deal.
Oh, okay.
You know, but I don't know. I think I kind of have my head down, and I don't pay attention to a whole lot that's going outside of whatever's trying to help the Griffs win. So
that's fair. Well, when you're in season, you're a Dodgers fan. I mean, they're obviously playoff bound once again. Do you get to follow that at all? Yeah, top of the division. Yeah. Well, probably a little bit hard.
No, I seriously, I don't. I lose track of it, and once fall camp starts, I mean, just everything kind of disappears for
takes
me.
over. Yeah, absolutely. Well, coaches, last thing, we talked about, teams leaving. A lot of people are saying maybe John Fisher should sell the A's. The White Sox are maybe going through some leadership questions after losing 120 games. If you had to do it, if you had to buy a sports team, who would it be, or even what sport would it be?
I'm going to go ahead and tell you this.
Yeah, I can hear you now. That's good.
Oh, that's great, because I have a feeling a lot of people don't care if I talk or not. But I would bring the Flint, Michigan Tropics to the NBA.
Oh.
I would.
Any particular reason?
Jackie Moon.
Okay.
Monix.
Yeah. Cool.
Whatever.
All right.
I think it'd be cool.
Mariners.
Flint, Michigan.
Mariners, yeah.
I'm going to make some big moves for 1 year and then sell it.
Take it.
And actually make the playoffs.
Okay, yeah. Coaches, anything come to mind there? Had to buy a team.
I'm the worst sports fan ever. Yeah. So, I watch my team
what about,
in Nebraska volleyball. So don't ask me about buying anyone because I couldn't tell you.
Can't buy a whole school, I guess.
Yep,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You could.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you had enough money, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think I'd rather not buy a team, but start a team.
Oh, okay.
In a location that I want to live.
Yeah.
So where are you going?
Yeah.
I don't know, some beach, somewhere on the
So
somewhere
home,
on the coast.
basically, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not that way.
Yeah.
Not going back there.
No.
Yeah.
East maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, coaches, thank you for your time. And, postseason baseball starts tomorrow. I know a lot of the locals are rooting for the Royals, maybe Tyler Fenwick's Dodgers or his Mariners. Either way, so a little bit of baseball discussion on the round table. Coaches, thank you. Good luck to those of you traveling. Cody, staying at home for the Griffon invite. Best of luck to all of our athletes. And thank you all for your time again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right. Thank you, guys. That'll wrap up the show for today. And that'll do it for the Griffon Sports Insider podcast. Watch back the podcast on YouTube. Just search Griffon Sports Insider there. Subscribe to us also on Spotify and Apple. I'm Tommy Rezach. We'll be back right here at High Hope. It'll be October when we're back for another edition of the Griffon Sports Insider podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for attending. Have a great rest of your week.